crazy. I have been wanting to talk about this story since I heard about it yesterday, but haven't had time. But this story is crazy, y'all. First and foremost, guys, watch your kids. Make sure you check on your kids and look out for their safety. There are some very sick, perverted people out there. Another thing is, it's sad that we can't even trust our own law enforcement because there's some really sick, unethical people even in law enforcement. But let's get into this crazy story, y'all. Cops say there could be more catfishing victims of the Virginia state trooper who murdered a 15-year-old girl's family after duping her online. So basically what happened was this Virginia state trooper got online and he had been catfishing this 15-year-old girl. Like he was pretending to be a teenager and was wooing this girl and talking about how he liked her and all this stuff, saying all the things that a 15-year-old girl would want to hear. Where this sick guy travels all the way to California, he brutally murders her family and then he kidnaps her. And now they're investigating this case and they're trying to figure out, is there other innocent victims involved with this sick man? So cops in Riverside, California are combing through Austin Lee Edwards' phone, his computer, his social media pages to see if he has a history of catfishing victims. But let's go and take a look at this video before we get into that, because that's kind of like a continuation of this story. And I just want to kind of introduce you to what exactly happened, because this story is crazy, y'all. I have to talk about this one.
Also breaking, a former Virginia state trooper allegedly kidnapped a California teenager and killed her family. 28-year-old Austin Edwards of North Chesterfield was later shot and killed by officers. Our Brendan King spoke to California police about this bizarre and tragic case. Brendan joins us now live to share what he found out. Brendan?
Well, right now, Cheryl, this story is making national headlines. Virginia State Police tell us the suspected shooter served as a trooper right here in Metro Richmond for about 10 months before he resigned in October. And then he got a job in the Washington County Sheriff's Office. They tell me they hired him on November 16th, just 10 days before this triple murder. Austin Lee Edwards, a former Virginia State Police trooper and Washington County, Virginia Sheriff's Office employee, died in a shootout with SWAT outside of Los Angeles on Friday, according to Riverside, California police. Detectives say the 28-year-old from North Chesterfield drove 2,600 miles cross-country to the home of a teenage girl he met online. The man deceived the young girl, police said, also known as catfishing. They say Edwards pretended to be someone else to develop a relationship with the girl. At some point, officers say he murdered the Winnick family, the teen's grandparents and mother, before kidnapping the girl.
Austin Lee Edwards, Division 1, Henrico.
CBS 6 covered Edwards' graduation from the Virginia State Police Academy back in January.
Ew, that was him.
A spokesperson says he was hired and entered into the academy in July 2021 and was assigned to cover Henrico County when he graduated. He resigned on October 28th, but BSP would not say why.
That I've known her over 22 years, and they're just loving. And this is just terrible. I just can't even imagine.
Over the weekend, loved ones held a candlelight vigil for the victims, who police say were found dead inside their burning home. 69-year-old Mark Winnick, 65-year-old Sherry Winnick, and 38-year-old Brooke Winnick, as this neighborhood tries to understand why.
It should not have happened, and especially to them. You know, I mean, they love their kids. They love their grandbabies. You know, they're just a wholesome family. I can't say that enough.
Just a wholesome family, she says. Well, Riverside police in California tell me that they're working with the Virginia law enforcement to see if Edwards has allegedly talked to any other underage individuals. Well, from all the heartbreak and sorrow, Cheryl, the teen girl was unarmed, and she is now in custody with protective custody with social services in California.
Guys, this story is so tragic.
Were you recently injured in a car accident?
And that's why I want to talk about it, because this poor girl lost her entire family over a sick person on the internet. This is just, it's like, man, you got to protect your children and really monitor what your kids are looking at online. And the thing is, even when you do, you don't even know if there's some sick predator out there who's pretending to be someone else. This story is sad because this young girl lost her entire family. Now she has to be with Child Protective Services. Her life is forever altered. I don't even know if she has anybody else that can take care of her. It's just, guys, this story is crazy. But anyway, let's read this. The 28-year-old had he traveled more than 2,000 miles, y'all, from Virginia to Riverside to get this girl sick, right? From his home in Virginia to meet this 15-year-old girl he met online. She probably even told him where she lived because she was thinking he was her age. We got to really talk to our kids and teach our kids about really being aware about what's going on online, and not everybody is who they really pretend to be online. Authorities say he parked his car at a neighbor's house and walked over to the girl's home, where he killed her mother, Brooke Wink, who was 38, and her grandparents. Dang, that could have been the people that would have took care of her. Her mother or her grandparents, and they're all gone. Her grandparents, Brooke Mark 69 and Sherry 65, were found bound and gagged. That is crazy. And she wasn't a participant. She didn't. Based on the sources, they're saying she did not consent to him killing her parents. She didn't even know this guy was an old man. She's thinking he's 15 years old. Edwards is then said to have set their house on fire. Dang. Tried to destroy the evidence after he killed them. He set them on fire, y'all. Fled with the girl before he was ultimately driven off the road, and then he was shot dead by the sheriff's deputies. I think he did death by cops. He engaged in a shootout because he knew they were going to kill him. I think that's what he did. The sick part is, y'all, they was about to hire him, and he was about to be hired again with that office that we just watched on the video before this happened, which makes it even more cryptic. Like, you never know if even officers are ethical. That's just sick. The young teen was able to escape and is now in protective custody at the Riverside County Department of Public Social Services. Cops maintain that she is an innocent victim in the attack of her family. That is so sad. This girl lost her entire family. Now she's not going to have... Man, how is she going to get through this? She probably had to witness it too. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the former Virginia state trooper who traveled across the country to meet a 15-year-old girl he catfished online before killing her family and setting her house on fire may have previously duped other young women, authorities say. So he probably has been doing this for a long time. There's probably other young girls out there. Cops in Riverside, California are now combing through Austin Lee Edwards' phone, his computer, his social media profiles to see if he had previously faked identities online to connect with young girls throughout the country. Wow, so it was like he wasn't just within certain locations. This sick man was using technology to reach young girls across the U.S. That's scary. That is very terrifying. Because, yes, this happened to a young girl, but it could happen to any one of us. You got to be careful. A lot of people are doing this online dating. You never know who's behind the screen. Those pictures might be fake pictures. Online dating, social media stuff, got to be very careful. As Officer Ryan Railsback told TMZ, that 28-year-old, he was 28 years old too, doing all this? He looked like he's the type of dude nobody want to be with, I'm just saying. Is that mean? Sorry, he looked like kind of like an outsider. Just this personality just looked like that. The 28-year-old law enforcement officials more than 2 miles away, he traveled more than 2 miles away to Riverside, was not likely the first time. This was not the first time he pursued young victims. He's been doing this for a while. Allegedly, authorities say Edwards parked his red Kia Soul at a neighbor's house, and then he walked over to the girl's home Friday morning. There, he killed the girl's mother, Brooke Wyneck, 38, grandparents, Mark, 69, Sherry Winnick, 65, and all three were found bound and gagged. That's crazy. So he must have broken into their house with a firearm or even knocked on the door with a firearm and ordered them to allow him to tie and gag them, and then eventually killed them. He was probably in there for some time too, talking to them. That's sad. Why would he kill them? Like, this dude is sick. Edward is then said to have set their house on fire and fled with the girl before he ultimately driven off the road by police, shot and dead by sheriff deputies. The young teen, meanwhile, managed to escape his car, so she ended up getting away. So it looks like he kidnapped her. She did not even willingly go with this guy. It's not like she met him and was like, "Oh, you're the guy I've been talking to." She probably was like, "Oh no, I didn't know you was some old dude. I thought I was talking to a 15-year-old." She probably was just as traumatized as her parents, who were shocked too. This is sad. So she managed to escape his car. That girl is awesome. She was brave. She's very brave to be able to have made it. Imagine if she didn't. He probably would have just essayed her and took her life. That's what it sounded like he was going to do. So since she escaped, she has since been taken into protective custody by Riverside County Department of Public Social Services. Riverside police maintain that she is an innocent victim, so she wasn't involved. We do hear those stories where sometimes these kids kill their parents for this young love, but this is not the case, y'all. She was just as catfished as her parents were. She was like, "What is this? He is not what I wanted. No. So they said she's innocent in the brutal attack of her family, though it remains unclear whether she was abducted by Edwards or if she went with him voluntarily. Ooh, so they don't know if she was actually willingly going with him or if she was kidnapped. So that is the question. Ew, he just looks repulsive to me. Ew, he's not even cute to me. No wonder he's over here online being a predator. Nobody want to be with him. I'm just saying, he looked like one of them dudes that don't have any social life, sits behind the computer, searching for people online because nobody want to hang out with him. That's what he looks like. He just looks like a dude that just sits somewhere in a enclosed room, locked away, preying on people because nobody want to hang out with him. Or he just makes himself socially awkward. He's just a socially awkward individual. I don't know. Sorry, guys. He just looks like that. Cops in Riverside, California say Austin Lee Edwards, 28, likely used other fake profiles in the past to connect with young women across the country. You just never know who's online or who behind the screen. That's scary. These are the victims, guys. They look so sweet. Look at the mother. Oh, that's her mother. And that's the grandparents. That's sad. Edward traveled from his home in Virginia to Riverside, California on Friday. That was just last week, Friday, where he murdered the family of a 15-year-old girl he was talking to online. The victims were identified as the girl's grandparents, right here. This is Mark Winnick, 69, Sherry Winnick, she's 65, as well as the girl's mother, Brooke Winnick, who is 38. Dang, guys, this story, what do you guys think about this story? This story, I had to share this with you because this story right here is so sad and we can learn so many lessons from it. Police said they were first called to the 1100-200 block of Prince Court just before 11 a.m. on Friday to check on the welfare of a young girl who appeared distressed while getting into a Kia Soul with an unknown man, later found to be Edwards. So they did a welfare check. She appeared to be distressed. Based upon that alone, that they observed, that tells me that she did not willingly go with this man. I know the article is saying they don't know for sure if she voluntarily. If she's looking distressed, that means she doesn't want to go with him. So it appears to me that this girl was kidnapped. And the fact that she escaped him, that sounds like somebody who doesn't want to go with this dude. I think she was just as shocked when she saw this ugly looking old dude trying to, kidnap her. She was like, "Who are you? That's not who I was talking to online. I thought I was talking to a 15-year-old boy." She was just as shocked when he came to her house, I think, in my opinion. I'm just giving an opinion, y'all. While officers were responding to the scene, police began to receive calls about a fire just a few houses away. He tried to destroy evidence by burning the house down. That was his whole intention, was to try to burn the house down, to destroy evidence and make it look like it was a house fire. And the thing is, I'm like, you're a state trooper. You know good and well that they can determine that it was a homicide, that they could see the bullets or whatever you did to kill these people. Come on now, make it make sense. The Riverside Fire Department discovered 3 adults lying in the front entryway. Oh my God, they were in the entryway. So did they all come home at the same time and then he just was in the house and shot them? Or no, he could have done that because he tied them up first. So when I guess when they first got to the house, that's weird. They were in the entryway. Interesting. So they were discovered lying in front of the entryway and took them outside, where rescue personnel determined they were victims of an apparent homicide. That's sad. Man, and to know he traveled all the way from Virginia to California to do this act. Wow. This story is crazy, right, y'all? It has so many weird twists and turns in it. The cause of the fire was under investigation, but appeared to have been intentionally ignited, police said, and authorities soon discovered that the girl described in the initial welfare check had lived in the house with her mother and her grandparents. Now, who is going to take care of her now? That's sad. At that point, law enforcement officials in the town, law enforcement officials in the town about 50 miles southeast of downtown Los Angeles. Okay, this is in the Los Angeles area. Distributed a description of Edwards' vehicle to other agencies nearby. Okay, so he kidnapped them, and then they had to be on the lookout. They did a bolo for this guy to try to look for him. Within a few hours, police were able to track down Edwards' Kia as he drove the teenager in Kelso, an unincorporated area of San Bernardino County. When police finally caught up with him, Edwards fired shots at them before being fatally shot himself by at least one deputy. I think that's what I think he was doing self-conclusion by officers. That's why he did that. That's what I really think. That's my opinion, because he was like, you guys are not going to take me in custody. And an ensuing investigation found that Edwards had driven from his home in North Chesterfield, Virginia, and Riverside, where he parked the vehicle in a neighborhood's driveway and walked to the girl's home. Guys, this is sick. This is sick and it's scary. It's like, I'm not doing any online dating. I'm just saying, because even though this is a young girl that this happened to, it could happen to any of us, y'all. Which one of y'all are doing online dating on this chat right now? Admit it. I'm just saying. I'm just playing. Anyway, while there, authorities say he murdered the girl's mother, grandmother, and grandfather and set their home on fire before walking back to his vehicle with the girl and leaving the scene. He was just going to end up taking that girl's life too. I'm glad she got away, because he was going to just, you know what, be perverted with the poor girl and then take her life probably. He probably has done this before. Who knows? Once they do more investigations, guys, you never know. The Winnick's exact cause of death is unknown, as is the cause of fire. You guys, they don't even know the cause of death. I thought he shot these people because he had a gun with him. He was shooting at the troops, so I just assumed that they were shot. But they're saying that they don't even know the cause of death. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I'm a guess that it's gunfire, but who knows? State Trooper Catfishes travels across the country for the teen victim. Look how far this sick dude traveled. Dang, that's what I'm saying. This is dangerous. Even like when you're on Facebook, all these social media stuff, you see this sick dude. People think, oh, they're safe because they live in a certain state. Oh, I live in this state and nobody's going to travel from Virginia or somewhere to come bother me. And so they think they're just safe. But this dude traveled literally across the country, y'all. That is insane to me. That is crazy. Look how far he traveled, 2,582 miles to get to this girl. That's how sick people are. I'm floored. I am floored. Nobody is safe in these streets. There's some really mentally ill people out there, and they will travel across the country, y'all, to harm people. Online is not a safe place. It's not. Authorities say Edwards traveled over 2,000 miles from his home in Virginia to meet the unnamed teenage girl at her home in Riverside, California. And look here, you can see the photo of the fire. Look, it looks like it kind of started up here in the roof of the house, because that's where most of the damage seems to be. And yeah, up here. So he had to have started the fire somewhere up here on that. Is that a second floor? On the second floor. This is crazy, guys. I'm floored. I'm absolutely floored. The home where the Winnecks lived was torched. Emergency services found the 3 bodies lying in the front entryway. I thought that was interesting too, the location of the bodies. Why were the bodies found in the front entryway? And it looks like he started the fire up at the higher floor. Maybe this is the second floor of the house, guys. I just think that's weird. I don't know what this guy was thinking. He obviously was not all the way there mentally, you know what I mean? Let's see if we can play this video. Probably he's gonna have a commercial, just gonna warn you guys. Wow, look at the house. So as you guys could see, that was the house, and somebody has already started putting like memorial stuff out there, like candles and different things like that, to just show their condolences to the family. This is a very tragic story, you guys. I feel like all of us can learn from it. People might just think, oh, you know, it only affects people who have kids. No, it's anybody who's online. I know a lot of people just feel like everything can be so convenient now where people want to date online, do different things online. There are some sick people out there that will literally travel across the country. That's right there what boggles my mind. I already knew it was across the country, but when you look at it and you have a visual that show you that the distance, it's just like, man, it floors. It's like it floors you. You're like, oh my gosh, this person was that determined and that obsessed with this little 15-year-old girl. Like you couldn't get anybody your own age to date you, that you have to go out and find a 15-year-old kid. This dude is seriously a sick person. Anywho, neighbor Sergio Gutierrez later told Daily Mail he saw that the 3 bodies carried out of the house by emergency responders had been bound and gagged. That's crazy. This sounds like something out of a movie or something. Oh my God. I look with binoculars from the back window of my house, the 68-year-old resident of the Riverside cul-de-sac said. They carried them out. Their hands were tied behind their backs. One lady had tape over her mouth. It was frightening. This is so, and imagine the neighbors having to see that. This tragedy not only impacted this poor 15-year-old girl who lost her family, the people that could take care of her. And the tragedy is, we hear about these tragedies all the time. And sometimes maybe the intermediate family, the intermediate parents are unalived or something like that, and then the kids can go with their grandparents or somebody else. But when you kill a grandparent and the parent, it's like, where is this girl going to go? And it's unclear where her father is because he clearly wasn't present. I don't know if they were divorced or where's the father, if anything. This is sad. Can you guys see the little cross there too by the garage? It looks like somebody put a little cross here to show their condolences. This is a sad one, you guys. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. This story is unreal. That's why I wanted to bring it to you to talk about this one. He said he previously spotted a red Kia Soul parked on the street near the home. So first, what this dude did is he scouted the area out first. He was sitting there watching the home first. And he said he believes the predator may have been surveying his victims before pouncing. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Look, he was out there just scoping out the house, making his plan, just sick. But to think the dedication in this, like he traveled across the country. That's a long, guys, tell me in the chat if y'all driven across the country and how many hours that take, how many days. All those days and times he traveled just to get to this girl. Like, man, imagine the obsession. He was that obsessed with this girl that he did all that. Oh my gosh. It was a couple of weeks or a month ago I saw the red car, he said. It looked suspicious. I think it might have been him. Oh my gosh, guys. So he had been watching this house for a couple of weeks or all the way from a month ago. He didn't just go in there and pounce on this girl and her family. He was sitting there, drove all the way to California from Virginia, and was watching their house to basically figure out their moves, figure out their schedule. He probably memorized everything. And when he finally figured that he had mastered their kind of schedule, then he went in for the kill. That's crazy. Dang, this story is. Woo, God, I am so sad for this family. I'm sad for that 15-year-old girl. She's never going to be the same. The Winnick's home was boarded up with smoke damaged following the attack. And look, you can see the little memorial here. That's so sad. Look at the memorial. And the cars are still parked there. Oh my gosh, this poor family. Sorry, guys, I'm reacting to this as I'm sharing it with you. So sometimes it may be a little emotional because this is sad. And look at the memorial where they put their photos of the family. That is sad. Somebody posted memories of them together. That is so heartbreaking. Wow. See that? Ah. Where did it go? Yeah, sorry, I have to go back to the article. I got ahead of myself. Getting to where we were. Where were we, guys? Oh, here we are. So friends and family left flowers, they left candles and photos outside of the home. So you can see that, just memories of this beautiful family. We got to pray for this family, guys. The Washington County Sheriff's Office released a statement on Monday decrying Edwards as evil and wicked and offering their condolences to the surviving family. Oh, so there's probably some other family members that she can reside with. Apparently, why is this little pop-up just came out of nowhere? Did it seriously just cover up? Make it make sense. Okay. The officer said Edwards completed police academy. That's the sicker part about it, guys. He's not just some regular dude off the street. He is a dude that is law enforcement that's supposed to be enforcing our laws. You know, they get they get extensive background checks before they become police officers. So to think this dude was actually behind the badge and he was this sick, it's like, man, who can we be safe around? He was law enforcement. Wow. So Edwards completed police academy training in January this year, and he had been working as a Virginia state trooper. They hired him as a patrolman on November 16th. Wow. It is shocking and sad, the entire law enforcement community, that such an evil, wicked person could infiltrate law enforcement while concealing his true identity as a computer predator and murderer. And the sad part is, guys, there's a lot of computer predators out there. You guys need to be careful. Social media and internet has made it more dangerous, and it has made it easier for these sick antisocial psychopaths to go online and hide behind the screen. There's a lot of them. You just never know who they are. And the scary part is this guy was law enforcement. That's the part that just kind of took me aback when I found out he was law enforcement. They said, our thoughts and prayers are with the Winnick family, their friends, officers, and all of those affected by this heinous crime, Washington County Sheriff Blake Andis said in a statement. They did a GoFundMe for the family, and they've raised over $50,000. I pray that gets up. We need to raise that up more. There's 3 family members that died. That is a huge amount of money they're going to need to do 3 different funerals. Oh my gosh. Wow. So over $50,000 by Tuesday dedicated to supporting the teenager and her sister who are of similar age. She has a sister, guys. So not only is she impacted by this, but her sister lost her mother and her grandparents too. That makes it even worse. I thought this teenager was the only kid. And the sad part is this 15-year-old girl, she's going to blame herself for the rest of her life and say, this is all my fault, when it really isn't her fault. I mean, she's a 15-year-old kid. How would she know that some sick psycho is online lurking behind the screen? I mean, the only way we can really protect against this is sit our kids down and educate them about the dangers of online and internet predators, and just to really, really be careful about that online. But anywho, Mark Winnick was a loving father. He was a grandfather. He was an uncle. He was a brother. He was a coach at Arlington High School. Sherry Winnick, she was a sweet and caring mother. She was a grandmother. She was a sister, an aunt who cherished spending time with her family. And Brooke Winnick, she was a beloved single mother. Okay, that makes sense. That she was a single mother. So I wonder where's the father. Interesting. So she was taking care of these two girls by herself. She was a single mother with the biggest heart and found her most immense joy in following her daughter in the color guard at Arlington High School. This is so tragic. These kids only have one parent, and that one parent is gone. I think this is the sister of the. She might be the sister. So she might be the grand aunt. Is that what they're called? Grand aunt? I think so. Not much is known about the publicly identified teenage girl, but her social media page. Uh-oh, people are on her social media page. They don't need to be doing that to this poor minor. They need to get off her social media page. That's the problem now. It's the social media that started this whole thing. Her social media page shows she's a keen dancer, and she is a member of her high school color guard. And this is a sibling here in great grief. Oh my gosh, this poor woman. And oh, this is a neighbor. Sorry, guys, strike that. I thought she was the sister because they said the grandmother had a sister. This lady here, she is a grandmother. I'm sorry, she is the neighbor. This lady is the neighbor. She's not a sibling. She's the neighbor, and she's the close friend of. Her name is Bonnie Davis. She said she was in the backyard cutting up Thanksgiving turkey. So she was cutting up some Thanksgiving turkey when she saw smoke coming from her neighbor's house. So she had to witness this, y'all. This poor lady here is never going to be the same. That is so sad. Look at her in so much grief and anguish. Wow. I am absolutely shocked of how evil this world is. Davis stood outside the Torch Winnick home with her son. That is her son, Bryant, who's 25 years old. She declined to give details of who the two surviving teenage daughters would be living with. That's sad that there's two girls that are now without their mother, who is a single parent. They have one parent. So it's like, where are they gonna go? Where's the dad? We don't even know if that's the sad part about it. We don't even know if she lost her father. So that would be even more tragic. If she's with protective services, it sounds like the dad is nowhere in the picture.
Every neighborhood needs a Winnick family because they just were the all-American, loving, caring, supporting family that you can ever ask for. When my husband passed away suddenly, they were right there for me, and in fact, up until last week, Mark's been mowing my lawn every week since my husband died. He took over that, and that's just who they were. We got a new neighbor, a single mom, and Mark was mowing her lawn. That's just who they were. They're just so loving, and to have something like this to happen to them, it's why them? This son of a bitch that did this, he just has no clue what he took away from this world. We need so many Winnicks, and this bastard come out here and did this to them unnecessarily. There's no reason for it, none. I just can't make sense of it.
Thank you.
Mark, Sherry, and Brooke were loving people. You didn't deserve this tragedy. We're still processing the new information provided by authorities, and we'll be speaking further at a press conference in conjunction with the Riverside Police Department this week. Please respect our privacy at this time. Thank you.
I know, right? The news sucks. EMS is like, I hate the news. I know, right? There's always something negative. They never have anything good on the news, y'all. But okay, so they said friends and family have described the Winnecks as a staple of the Riverside community who were always willing to help others. They were really good people. The next door neighbor, Bonnie Davis, told Daily Mail she was in her backyard. That's what we talked about. She was cutting up her Thanksgiving turkey. That's crazy that this happened around the holidays, though. Like Christmas is coming up, New Year's. These kids are not going to have a Christmas with their family. This is tragic. Man. She said, I was taking my turkey and ham apart out in the back. Then I saw the smoke and I called 911. I was frantic. I saw the flames coming out the front and out the windows. Davis said she didn't hear gunshots, suggesting the killer may not have used a gun. Wow, I wonder what he used. I was outside. I would have heard something, she said. The 59-year-old said the Winnecks became like family when she moved to the quiet Riverside cul-de-sac from the East Coast 22 years ago. So imagine she's known them for 2 decades. And this is very traumatic for her to know someone for 2 decades and see how they died in this horrific manner. That's, man. And the sad part is none of us even know how they died. It's like that's even more horrific because we don't know. Oh man, these people out here are evil. She said they were extended family. And that's how it is in these neighborhoods. These neighbors become family members. They become a part of your family. I'm pretty sure you guys, if you guys live in, neighborhoods, you become really close with your neighbors as family sometimes. Every neighborhood needs a Winnick family. They were the all-American, loving, caring, supportive family. Just recently, Brooke had a pair of Crocs on. I was admiring them. Sherry said, Brooke, go order her some. Oh, that's so sweet. So she was admiring the pair of Crocs that Brooke had on, and Sherry went and ordered the neighbor some because she liked them. That was so sweet. That's the type of people they are. They were so loving. Oh, it's like the good people. It's like, why does stuff always happen to the good people? It's sad. Davis said that after her husband died suddenly, after her husband died suddenly, Mark started mowing her lawn for her to help her out, and 8 years later was still doing it. Oh, so that's why she was a single parent, because their father, the 2 girls' father, had already died. So now they lost 2 parents. They lost their mother and their father, and now their grandparents. See how horrific this story is? It's like, I can't even imagine. It's hard enough to lose one relative, but to lose all 4 that are like significant, you lose a father and then later on you lose your mother and your grandparents all in this 3 in the same day. That's terrible. On the same day, that's terrible. Wow. She also had fierce words for the late cop accused of the murder and the kidnap. Like, he's a cop too, guys. He's a cop. That's the crazy part about this story. The fact that he's law enforcement. Swore to protect the citizens where he resides, and he goes out here and is one of the most dangerous people out here. Oh my gosh. And he used all that training in the academy probably to kill these people and to execute this crime. I think he used all that training, y'all, to go and master whatever he did in this crime. That's even more crazy, right? This person that said this SOB that did this, he has no clue what he took away from this world. She said that B word came out here and did this to them unnecessarily. There is no reason for it, none. I just can't make sense of it. I know the crazy part is that he literally traveled across the country to do it. That's the crazy part that I can't get out of my head. And this is the pretty mother right here. She's so beautiful. Brooke has been described as a loving single mother of 2 teenagers. And it's even more sad because she lost her husband and was trying to take care of her 2 daughters, and this happens. And see, it's even more hard for single parents to monitor their kids, especially when you have 2. So it's easier for kids to get involved in stuff like this, to go search online and become vulnerable victims, because you have this single parent. She's trying to master taking care of these two kids and working and managing the house and all these things. And so it's easy for a child to fall prey to these sick predators online. This is the second victim here. He's the grandfather. Oh, look at him with the little dog. He seemed like a good person, just a really good human being. Mark Winnick was a longtime girls softball coach at Arlington High School. Oh, so he was a coach. Wow. This is sad. On Monday afternoon, she read out a statement from the Winnick family to assembled reporters. She said, "I just want everybody to know that there were very much loved family in this community. The Winnick family would like to thank everyone for their love, support, and patience during this horrific time in their lives. Mark, Sherry, and Brooke were loving people who didn't deserve this tragedy. We're still processing the new information provided by authorities and will be speaking further at a press conference in conjunction with the Riverside Police Department this week." Davis, who stood outside the torched, y'all, he tried to burn that house down, torched Winnick home with her son, Bryant, 25, declined to give details of who the two surviving teenagers will be living with. Man, I hope there's another family member who they can live with. They don't have, not only do they not have their parents, they don't have their grandparents. Who else are they going to reside with? Oh, probably the sister of the grandparents, maybe the grand aunt. But still, it's sad. The surviving family are planning to hold a press conference in the Riverside in the coming days. So we will wait for that press conference, y'all. Let's see if there's anything else. And we will play that and go over that. But this is just horrific, guys. Man, we hear stories that are crazy all the time. But this right here, this has all the tragedies in one. You got a law enforcement that traveled all the way from Virginia, y'all. That's great. And he drove. He didn't fly. He drove his Kia all the way across the United States. Nobody's safe, y'all. If people really willing to travel across the U.S. to do a tragedy like this, nobody is safe. There could be somebody in New York preying on you, and you live somewhere in, I don't know, somewhere over here. I'm just saying, like, nobody is safe. This is cross country. What do you guys think about this tragedy? Let me know. I'm curious what you guys have to say. Somebody said, M22 said, "I was just watching your last live. Girl, slow down. I can't keep up. This world is going backwards." I know, M22. See, I'm so used to it because I used to be a criminal prosecutor. So I used to prosecute crime all day, every day. That was my career. So I'm so used to it. Every day I would hear about these things. I get like 200 files that I have to look through of all these different crimes, and I have to go to court and, do all the legal proceedings and the arguments and trials. And so for me, I'm used to it. But yeah, take your time, M22. Take your time, sweetie. If you can't watch all of them, just take your little mental health break and come back and regroup, sweetie. We'll try to put some positive stuff on this page too, but I do a lot of criminal stuff because I like to analyze crime and stuff like that. M22 said, oh no, he just said it. Violet said, "I stopped online dating after I felt like some guy was trying to set me up to harm me." Yes, Violet, you are so smart. I did too, Violet. I stopped doing online dating about 2 years ago because the same thing, I was coming across a lot of weirdos online, and I was like, I have yet to meet anyone who's normal online. I was like, maybe it's because a lot of predators are the ones that lurk online and hide behind the screen. There's not, so I was like, that's not a safe place to meet people, in my opinion. I'm just saying, it's not safe. It's just probably best to meet men organically or women organically. You're smart, Violet, I'm just saying. Because it can happen to anyone. One of us. Parents, talk to your kids. Tell your kids about the dangers of online predators, that people aren't who they say that they are online. Adults, we need to be careful about the online dating because Not only did this happen to a young girl, we hear about stories about online dating and people getting murdered or set up, men and women. I've heard of men and women cases. So just, it's not it, guys. It's online dating is not it. And if you're going to do it, you need to take, I just don't think you should do it. But I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, just really take some precautions. Yeah, M22 says that is scary for a child. I know it is. People are very sick, Violet. M22 said, you know how the 70s and 80s had a lot of serial killers and child killers? Then there was not many for a long time. Yeah, I think we're heading back in that time with child predators and serial killers soon. I think you're really right, M22, because just in the past few months, this year alone, I've heard of at least a serial killer that was in California. He was a serial killer out in Stockton area. He was killing multiple people for over a year straight, guys. And then we've heard of multiple serial shootings happening around the US. And then now we're hearing about these predators. So I think M22 is onto something, that everything in society happens. It's like a cycle, you know. Things happen and then it stops for a while and then it comes back around again. It's like a never-ending cycle. So like M22 is saying, we might be approaching that time frame where we're repeating history once again. This is sad. So be very careful, guys. Be vigilant. You know that saying people always say, the good die young? It's because the good are so vulnerable. People that are good they don't really put their guard up because they think, with their lenses of being a good person, they think that, oh, because I'm a good person, that means everybody are good people, which is not true. You have to be alert and be discerned, and you have to just be guarded in this world. I'm sorry. And like M22 has said, we're in a different time frame where there's just a lot of sick people out there. So you, even if you're a good person, you can't think and look with rose-colored glasses. You have to start thinking like a logical, discerning, observant person. And I'm sorry, guys, you're gonna have to be more guarded with your life if you want to live long in this world, because there's just sick people like this. I can't get over this. This part I can't get over, that he's an officer and he literally was that dedicated. That's a lot of dedication. You don't know who's online. You don't know where this person lives. You could live in Texas and he can live all the way in New York somewhere or whatever, and be obsessed with you and fly all the way or drive all the way and harm you and people close to you. So this story right here, I was like, oh, we need to talk about it. M22 says, well, dude probably didn't have to see it. You're right on it, girl. He probably did. He had all the tools too. He was trained. He was law enforcement. He probably used those skills to execute this crime. But clearly he wasn't smart enough because he was caught real quick. Violet says, that's actually some really crazy stuff. I traveled from Texas to New York with family years ago, and that took, I believe, 2 to 3 days. Wow. That's dedication. If it took you 2 to 3 days, it had to have taken him about that amount, 2 to 3 days possibly to get there. So that is some serious dedication. That means this dude was literally obsessed with this girl, that he did all that. All of that. Wow. The visual part, it's the visual for me. That's serious dedication. And it's sick. It was like a sinister obsession that he had in his mind. And it always starts in the mind that this dude literally was obsessed with her. And imagine they're looking into his stuff, so he might have other victims across the US that he was preying upon. Wow. M22 says, she must have an older sister because they said the mom is a grandma. Oh, I missed that detail, sweetie. I thought that they were saying that the 38-year-old mother's mom was the grandmother. Yeah, I think they were saying she's the grandmother. Maybe I missed that. You might be right. Maybe she's the younger daughter. She's 15. They didn't say the age of the other daughter, so that's interesting. Hopefully they will let us know more. I know, like M22 said, holidays will never be happy again for this sad family. Oh, look, Mazur one said, I'm in my Crocs right now. They are so comfortable. I know, Mazur. I have my Crocs too. I literally wear them all the time. Every time I leave, I have my Crocs on because they're so convenient and they're so comfy. And you can put the little charms on it now. I really like that you could put charms on it. Guys, sorry I'm talking about Crocs right now when we're talking about a tragedy. Sometimes you got to make light of some things because these stories are so sad. They're very sad and they could be very taxing on you. I know that's like 40 hours, like Master One said. That dedication right there is so cryptic to me. I can't get over that. Didn't they say the mom was also a grandma? If so, she must have an older daughter child with a kid. See, I thought they were saying that her mom is the grandmother. But let's go back and see because they were describing them. You might be right. I don't think so. There's a part in here where they describe the parents. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is the mother, and they was saying Brooke Winnick was a beloved single mother with the biggest heart and found her most immense joy in following her daughter in the color guard at Arlington High School. So yeah, I don't think she's a grandmother. They were talking about her mother. Her mother is the grandmother because she was saying Sherry Winnick, and Sherry Winnick is sorry. I have to scroll up. It's this lady. This lady is her mother. She's the grandmother. Because when they describe her in the GoFundMe, they call her a grandmother. They say Sherry Winnick is a grandmother. If I could find, where'd that GoFundMe go? Let's go up to the GoFundMe. I'm gonna see if I can attach that link to the GoFundMe in my description too, guys. So if you guys want to donate. But so for Sherry, she was the sweet, caring mother and grandmother, sister, and aunt who cherished spending time with her family. So they're saying Brooke's mother is the grandmother of her two children. That's what I think they were saying. Yeah, the other two girls are still young kids or teenagers. Yes, Lori, let's talk about some safety measures we can learn from this. Because that's why I do these stories too, is what can we learn from them? We always like to have a discussion about something that we can take from it. So like Lori is saying, check your kids' devices. You need to do that. Learn all the apps they're having. You need to sit down with them and talk to them about the dangers of online predators. You gotta do it, guys, because there are some sick people out there, and to think some sick guy could be across the country, even across the world, you never know, who is obsessing over your kid. Like, just be careful, guys. Be careful. Like Lori said, you're going to have to check and screen your kids' stuff. You got to be really involved. I feel a lot of empathy for this case, though, because this woman was doing it all by herself. She's a single parent. She's got two kids. She's got to try to manage the kids, manage the household. That was a lot of responsibility on her. And I'm pretty sure a lot of times she didn't have time to be so immersed in what her kids were doing, like in terms of online stuff. And that can really cause teenagers to fall prey to this because then they have so much time on their hands. And so they start getting involved in things, especially when they're teenage girls like this. Their hormones start flying all over the place, y'all. And they're looking at boys now. And so especially when you know your kids are getting a little bit older, like when they're starting to become teenagers and they're starting looking at boys and girls, you want to have a seat and talk to them. And you want to monitor their online activity because there's some sick, disgusting people. They literally are out there looking for teenagers because they're predators. They're disgusting. Oh, God. But yeah, I agree with Lori on that. I wonder if dude wore a diaper like that. M22, girl, you taking me out. She said, I wonder if dude wore a diaper like that astronaut lady did when she drove a long way to stalk someone. I'm done with you, M22. She took me out. She said a diaper. Oh, man. A lot of predators are dedicated. I know, Lori, they're literally sick in the head. My gosh. Like, I'm floored that this guy was that dedicated. He drove several days, several hours across different countries. And like I said, you know, when we hear the states, we know it's across the country, but when you actually get a visual of it, you're like, man, that's some serious dedication when you look at it, when you actually can visually see it. Oh, M22. Okay, yeah. It's okay, girl. It was probably me talking fast. I talk too fast sometimes. Mazer once said, would not be surprised if he was on meth. Right, girl, right, right. He probably was on something or had some mental health issue or something wasn't right with the guy. Clearly, he looked like he was out of place in the video we saw too of him. Something wasn't right. Oh, okay, so the grandma has grandkids. Okay, I got it. Yep, M22, you got it, love. She said, M22 says, I drive my son nuts, always reminding him that anyone can say they are doing one thing, but really be some creep. I'll be like, he sounds older. My son will be like, Mom, he's in my class. But you're doing the right thing, M22. You are being incredible. That's what we need to just be very much involved in what our kids are doing. And I would suggest parents out there to share this story with your kids. Sit your kids down and actually go through the article with them and say, look, this is what can happen. You can lose your mom and dad to these sickos out here that are crazy. Look what happened to this poor young lady. So that's why we go over these stories too, to hopefully we can save some lives, learn some lessons, have a discussion about it. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this sad tragedy and keep this family in your prayers.